All right, so let's start right at the top of review sheet 2. And what I'm also going to make sure we do is write out formulas that you need to memorize for these. And I believe really the only formulas you had to memorize were your parabola directrix question, so number 6. So to begin here, your first question, find the first 4 terms of the recursive sequence. Now, when I came around, I didn't really see any of you leave this one off, so I think we're still fairly good with it. Reinforce anyways. It's good practice to redo these questions. So if you want to take a separate sheet of paper and like write them down again, feel free to. So I'm going to start this with my first term is equal to 16. I'm going to just add this right here. And then you're going to continue. So remember that this translates into your next term is equal to your previous term. I'm going to write that right above it. And this always counts as partial credit too in the instance that you make a mistake. So next term is equal to previous term. So I'm going to look at the previous term. And then minus 5 times the term number I am looking to find, which is the second term. So 16 minus 10, my first answer should be 6. So now we do it again. You're going to pull your previous. And I'm going to go 6 minus 5 times 3. So this is equal to 6 minus 15, which is, you guys get negative 9? And one more time. You're going to pull the previous, and you're going to go negative 9 minus 5 times the 4th term, which is what you're looking to solve for. And the last answer is negative 29. How do we feel on number 1? Fairly confident stuff? Wonderful. Number 2, and this is again where you're going to start to see repetition. On Monday, you only have 10 multiple choice questions to do, and you should start to see some reoccurring patterns in here so you know exactly what to study. Find the zeros of the function. We spend a lot of time doing this. Definitely expect to get one. 4 terms, what do I do right down the middle? Yep, split it, and I do my grouping. So on the left-hand side, I'm going to take out a GCF of x squared. And this leaves me with x plus 3. Other side, I take out the negative 4, and then I have x plus 3. This polynomial is a degree 3, which means how many zeros are we going to have? 3. Yep, use that information to kind of help yourself. So I'm going to rewrite this as x squared minus 4 gets multiplied by x plus 3. And what do we have to do with x squared minus 4? Dots, yep. Good, so x plus 2, x minus 2, x plus 3. And now you're going to split them all and t-chart. So you have 3 zeros located at those values. So answer should be negative 2, positive 2, and negative 3. And at that point, if you wanted to verify this on your calculator, you start really quick, you would just type it in and make sure that it crosses at those values. So I'll do this just in case you want it. But you could definitely check this. What you're going to see is this would cross at negative 3, negative 2, positive 2, and it's also going to have a y-intercept at negative 12. This is just a sketch. So it should look something like this if you type it in the calculator. Right, so that's just a nice way to check yourself. Any questions down to number 2? Okay, number 3, can you do it in the calculator? No, you have a variable. So you have to multiply this out by hand. So 7 minus xi gets multiplied by a second copy of 7 minus xi. And then you're going to go from here. So you can do FOILing method or you can do X method if you really want to. I start and I do 7 times 7, which gives me 49. I do 7 times the negative xi, which gives me minus 7xi, or ix, it does not matter. Then I do this one, which gives me another copy of negative 7xi. And then the hardest term is this last one. You're going to do x times x is x squared. And directly next to it, you're going to have I times I squared. I'm going to do one step at a time. So we have 49 minus 14xi. And then you're going to pick up your calculator and hit second period to get the I. And what do you substitute I squared with? -1. Good. So this becomes a -1. It's right on your calculator. Hit second period to get the I and then square it. So really, this is going to clean up to give me 49 minus 14xi minus x squared. And I know some of you asked, can it be left like that? Close. When you write something imaginary, it's always in the form a plus bi, indicating that the imaginary portion does have to be listed last. So I'm going to start this and go 49 minus the x squared and then minus 14xi, and that would be sufficient. How's number 3? Pretty good? Okay, you'll see one just like that. So what you do is multiply it out and then use your calculator. Number 4, a lot of you are really good at expanding these out, and then I think you forget what to do with it. This is what we call a summation. So this symbol is a summation, it's a sigma. And if you look at summation, what word is in it? Sum. So what do you do with your answers? Yep. You're going to add those. So again, I'm seeing a lot of people that are like 90% better. So what do you do with this? This is where you start, and the top is where you stop. This one's really short. All I have to plug in is 4 and 5. So first, let's plug in 4. Every place you see n. So I'm going to do 4 squared minus 2 times 4, and I'm going to get a number from this. So 16 minus 8 is 8. Then I'm going to plug in 5. So 5 squared minus 2, and then times 5 would be 25 minus 10, which is 15. And then what do I do with these two values? Add them, and my answer is going to be 23. That was number 4, okay? Number 5 is a quotient question. Again, this is where you're going to start to see a repetition. I think you know by now that you're going to have to do division, either synthetic or long division, or possibly both. What method does this have to be? There's a 3 in the front. Good, long. So this one has to be long division. Again, you are going to see one of these, because every region contains one as well. So no trick there, make sure you can do it. I'm looking for some space. So I'm going to do that over here. We have 3x minus 4 is going to divide into. And I'm going to go 6x squared minus 17x plus 12. No placeholders, so you begin. I need to match the 6x squared, so I'm going to multiply it by 2x. So 2x times 3x would give me 6x squared minus 8x. Please use your calculator for these signs. There will be a lot of errors with that double negative. So again, don't hesitate to type it in. You have to do negative 17 minus negative 8, which is negative 9x. And you are going to pull down the 12. You do it one more time. So I'm going to go minus 3, because you want to match that sign exactly. And I get negative 9x plus 12. So this divides evenly. Remainder of 0. So my answer is just 2x minus 3. How do you feel with 5? Fairly confident? Good. Number 6, we've got issues. And it's really just probably that you forgot the equation. So let's make sure you're good on this one. It says write an equation for the parabola with a focus point at 0, -2. So I'm going to label this first. So focus is 0, -2. And feel free to use colored pencils and highlighters again if you'd like to. They're in the back. You can use them for your test as well. And then I have a directrix at x equals 2. What type of line is x equals? Vertical or horizontal? Vertical. That's another common error. So this is a vertical line. So that's where some of the errors probably occurred. So I'm going to go to Q, and I'm going to draw my directrix. Again, x equals are always going to be vertical, y equals horizontal. So this is my D. The next thing you need is your vertex. So by definition, a vertex is located halfway in between these. So my vertex is going to be right there. V for vertex. I'm going to list that up here. Vertex is located at 1, -2. And now you're going to sketch this. When you draw your parabolas, they're either going to open up, down, left, or right, but they have to enclose the focus and not cross the directrix. So that's going to be one of these guys. Sideways. I said always wraps up around the focus point. In addition, I just headed to the left. So what does this indicate about my p-value? Negative. Yep. So my p is going to be negative. Now I need to count it. So how many units are there between the focus and the vertex or the vertex and the directrix? Yeah. So p is just equal to -1. Now your equations. So let's do this. Let's make sure you have these both listed just so that when you're studying and looking back, you know that you're required to do both. So this one, when we're sideways, this is the equation y minus k squared is equal to 4p x minus h. This is the equation that you use for your sideways parabolas. So anything that goes like this or like this. And I'll do this for you too. So this one would have a positive p-value, and that one would be negative. The other equation that we discussed, I'll put that above the question, is for your parabolas to open up and down. So alternatively, you learned x minus h squared is equal to 4p y minus k. Make sure you have those copied down accurately so you don't study something incorrect. And this is when I open up or down. And this first one on the left is associated with a positive p-value, and this one is negative. So those are the equations that you definitely want to make sure that you know. So do this. I'm going to box them. You'll see them again on your third review sheet too, just because I know that this content, although you're really good with it when we're doing it, it just gets forgotten easily. There's a lot of parts to it. So here are your two main formulas that you do need to know. Now for this question, we're just going to sub in, and it just says write an equation. So you do not technically have to simplify this. So I am going to go here. Y minus -2 becomes +2 squared is equal to 4 times -1 was p, and then x minus 1. When you have your sideways parabolas, you want to solve this for x equals. When you have your parabolas that open up and down, you want to solve these for y equals. Again, it's really heavy on the details. So if I keep going with this, I'm going to leave this y plus 2 squared is equal to negative 4 x minus 1. You have a couple choices. You can FOIL out the left-hand side if you'd like, or you can leave it squared and just move everything over and get x by itself. So this is equivalent. I'm going to divide this by the negative 4. And I'm going to leave this as y plus 2 squared over that negative 4. And then equals, and then x minus 1. And then to finish them, I'm just going to add the 1 over, and I'm going to leave this unsimplified. Plus 1, plus 1. So a final answer could be x is equal to y plus 2 quantity squared over the negative 4 and plus the 1. Okay, so this is, oh, I'm sorry. This is one way that you could leave that final answer. So that's over that negative 4 right there. How do we feel on the problem now? A little bit better? Okay. A ton of details with that. Do you have what you needed to that in a moment? Okay, again, a lot of detail. The next question was also problematic for some of you. So it says solve the following. Typically what we always look for with quadratics is join this factor. So if this factored, it would have been AC method. You would have to find two numbers that multiply to be 9 and add to negative 12, which is not possible. So this is not factorable. So that's out. What other method did we use to solve quadratics? It's on your formula sheet. Yep, excellent, quadratic formula. So we're going to do quadratic formula instead with this one. Quadratic formula is going to work anytime you have a quadratic, which is that x squared. So if you ever get stuck, use that. So I go x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Again, you don't need to memorize that one. So I go x is equal to negative 12 becomes 12 plus and minus square root. And I'm going to go negative 12 squared minus 4 times 9 times 1 all over 2a, which is 18. At this point, you're probably going to need a calculator. And you're going to go 144 minus 4 times 9 times 1. I got 108 from that discriminant. So x is equal to 12 plus or minus the square root of 108 over 18. And 108 breaks down. So you're looking for a perfect square that 108 divides by. Is it 36? Let's see. Yeah, 36 and 3. So I go x is equal to 12 plus or minus square root of 36, square root of 3, all over 18. So I get x is equal to 12 plus or minus 6 radical 3 over 18. And you have to simplify. So your three numbers that are located in the front must be reduced, just those three. So ignore that radical. So I'm going to take those and divide them all by 6. So final answer is 2 plus or minus 1 if you want to put it here, and then radical 3 over 3. Okay, so that's your resulting answer. Is 7 better? To say, as soon as I say quadratic formula, I'm sure that that kind came back to you. So that works every single time. What else is tough here? Number 8 might have given you difficulty. This is a common denominator question, but you first must factor this. You're going to factor this into x minus 5 and x plus 2, indicating that your denominators are going to be one of each factor. And you have to leave it because this problem did not initially have an equal sign on it. So I've got this. I'm going to multiply by whatever factor is missing. So on the left-hand side here, I have this factor. So that one's taken care of. I need this second one. So I'm going to take this and multiply it by x plus 2. Okay. Let's do that off to the side. 2x times x is 2x squared. Plus 4x plus 1x is 5x. 1 times 2 is 2. This one's all set. You got them both. So the next thing you're going to do is just combine these together. So subtract that 4. So I get 2x squared plus 5x minus 2 all over x minus 5 and x plus 2. The last thing you're going to check for is, does this factor on top so that we can cancel? So you would have to find numbers that multiply to -4 and add to +5. Not going to be possible. So this is your final answer. Nothing cancels. Okay, but you were able to combine things together. Number 9, I saw a couple questions here. Self-algebraically, this is when you're going to get them both equal to y and then set them equal to each other. So I'm going to take this x squared and I am going to add it over. I get y is equal to x squared minus 5x plus 7. And I'm going to add the 1 over and get y is equal to 2x plus 1. When they are both equal to y, you can set them equal to each other. So I'm going to take this one and this one and go x squared minus 5x plus 7 is equal to 2x plus 1. Quadratics always have to get equal to 0. You're going to subtract your 2x over and your 1. If you're comfortable doing those at the same time. I get x squared minus 7x plus 6 equals 0. To have a trinomial, you need to factor them. So multiply to positive 6 adds to negative 7 would be negative 6 and negative 1. So check your work. I'm going to t-chart and get x is 6 and 1. But you're not done. What did we need for a question like this? They also needed y values. So lastly, you're going to sub in, and you're going to go y is equal to 2 times x plus 1. So this is going to be y equals 13. So my first answer occurs at 6, 13. Secondly, y is equal to 2 times 1 plus 1. So y is equal to 3. So 1, 3. So 2 solutions there. So substitution for sure. Any questions on 9? Number 10, what should you immediately do with your calculator? Retest. So I'm going to just make sure that we're good on that part. You're going to go right to your calculator and you are going to type in 4, -3, 1, -10. So you're gonna go second matrix over to edit. It's a 3x4, and you're gonna go 3. I forgot, I tried. So if we type this in, oh, it doesn't start with 3, I apologize. 4, -3, 1 and -10. Next row is 2, 1, 3, 0. Yes, you have to type the 0. And last row is going to be -1, 2, -5, and 17. You quit out of the screen, so second mode. And then I go second matrix over to math and up to choice B. And I grab matrix A. And respectively, in that last column are my answers, 1, 4, -2. Okay. So you can jot those down quick. So 1, 4, and -2. And these last couple. So 1, 4, -2. All right, so coming to the end. 11, factor completely. So you're immediately going to pull out a GCF of 2, leaving me with y squared plus 6y minus 27, which factored into a trinomial of y plus 9 and y minus 3. Factor completely makes use of 2 different methods typically. So GCF and then this one having trinomial as well. Number 12, we had some people leave this one off. This one is easier than you're probably thinking. Is 1A0. You have 2 choices, synthetic or substitution. If you substitute the 1 in, every single place that you see X, for this to work, do you guys remember what value you're supposed to get? Not a trick. 0. Yep. So you're going to sub that in. Was it 0? Anyone get it? Don't think so. We'll type it. So 1 to the 4th, and then you have plus 3 times 1 cubed minus 28 times 1 squared minus 36 plus 144 is 84. So does this work? No. Not a 0 because you didn't obtain 0. Same thing for synthetic. It would not work out to be 0. It would have given you a remainder of 84. So lastly, part E, is x plus 3 a factor? What do you have to do with this 3 when it's a factor? Switch it to -3. Right? Only when it's a factor. So this one I'm going to do synthetically to see you've got both methods on here. I'm going to go 1, 3, -28, -36, and 144. Again, you were looking for a remainder of 0 for this to work. So the 1 comes down, multiply, add, multiply, add. 28 times 3 is 84. Add straight down, so 84 minus 36 is 48. And it works. So is it a factor? You are going to say yes, no, remainder. So that one divided evenly. Do we feel better on number 12? Those of you that forgot that one? Yes, it's just synthetic or synthetic division or substitution you're choosing. So here's what I would like you to spend your remaining time on and finish up for homework if you don't complete them. You have one last sheet. So you have midterm review number 3. There is a factoring question for number 2, so that's just grouping. There's another parabola question for number 3, just multiple choice. Maybe like a common denominator or cross multiplication for 5. Another parabola looking at your remainder theorem for 12, and then you have a couple questions on the back. 15 should be fairly easy. That's just going to be your long division again. 16 is like the substitution that we just did. 12 is a trig question, and then number 6, because I knew the parabolas were going to pose a problem. 6 is another parabola question. So take the remaining time, get a jump start on those. Do the same thing you did last night. I really appreciated that. Star any question that was challenging for you, so we kind of know where to concentrate our efforts tomorrow, which is your last day of review. So thank you for starting those in your homework. Again, that's helpful. So complete these few questions. Don't forget there is additional review on Delta Math. There's 2 big assignments if you want more practice. They're not required, and anything you want to do on it is fine. You don't have to do the whole thing. All right, so time is yours.